Welcome to SD classes. Today we are going to learn A Tiger in the Zoo, a poem prescribed in CBSE 10th class first flight book. The poem is based on the life of an imprisoned tiger who is walking here and there in the prison. Therefore, an image of tiger and a prison is at the title page. The whole scene is in the dark night. That is why the whole explanation of this video will give you a dark night experience. Let's begin. The poem explains the agony and the helplessness of a caged tiger. Caged means who is in the cage that is kept in a zoo. So, where the tigers are kept in a zoo and they are kept in a cage. That is why the poetry is about a tiger which is in the zoo. The poet tries to explain how his life could be if he had been a free animal. Free animal means the animal who could just live his life in his natural habitat, that means in the forest. Let's talk about the poet very first. Leslie Norris, who was born on 21st May 1921, Myrtle Tydefil, and died on 6 April 2006. He was a British poet, and his famous works are Finding Gold, Phoenix Living Poets, Ransoms. The awards. The typical word which you are finding, the correct pronunciation is Comley. The Comley Poetry Prize, the David, again the word is little bit typical, that is Hayam. So the awards are Comley Poetry Prize, the David Hayam Memorial Prize, the Catherine Mansell Memorial Award, the AML Award. Let's talk about the literary devices which are used in this poem. Personification. What is personification? A form of figurative language in which something that is not human is given human characteristic. That is a definition. Let's understand in a simple manner. Personification means when you are considering someone like an animal, like a non-living thing, as human being. So many times we say even walls have ears. So how is it possible a non-living wall can have ears? So human is compared here. The human characteristics or quality we have mentioned like ears. So as I say, even walls have ears. That means it is personification. Let's talk about metaphor. Again, there is a definition. Let's understand in a very simple manner. Metaphor means comparison between two things without like and as. If you are using like and as, it becomes simile. So like if we say a camel is a ship of desert, so I'm just comparing ship of desert is like camel. So without like and as I'm comparing, so it's metaphor. And if I say a camel is like a ship of desert, so this is simile. So simply we are comparing two things without like and as, that's metaphor. Let's talk about imagery. Imagery creates imagination. That means while studying, while reading, you start imagining the things in your mind. So that is imagery. Oxymoron means comparison of two opposite adjectives, like sound of silence. How is it possible? Sound and silence, like dark light. So that oxymoron will be used in this poem. I'll be just telling you in the next few minutes. Alliteration means when you are finding repetition of two letters of same letter in two words. I mean, if I say first two letters of two words, like simple subject, smart and studious. So SS is repeated here. So these letters are same but repeated in two different words, and the first letters are same and giving the same sound. So this is alliteration. Very simple example if I take from the practical life, that is like Kit Kat. If you say that KK is repeated, Coca-Cola, again KK is repeated. The first letter is of course CC in Coca-Cola, but the pronunciation is also same. So these are the examples of alliteration. How these literary devices are used in this poem we'll be studying in the next. Let's move further. These are the key points which will help you to understand the poem, and these key points are just an introduction of the poem. So study it and you will find the poem will be more easier for you to understand. Okay, let's begin the poem. Very first, we have rhyme scheme A, B, and CB. That means the last words of every line is giving a same kind of sound. When the sound or the rhythm, or you can say the pronunciation, is giving a kind of same sound, that we call rhyme scheme. In this first stanza, we have strips, and next we have cage, next we have quiet, and next we have rage. So what do we find? That stripes is a different one, quiet is a different one, but cage and rage is the same kind of sound. So that's why for first stripes I have given A, cage I have given B, quiet I have given C, because quiet is different and stripes is different, but rage and cage is same again, that's why I have given B. So this is a way of taking out or finding out the rhyme scheme. Let's begin the poem. Very first begin the poem is saying he stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage on beds of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. So very first he is used here. So what I have told you, he is used for tiger. Tiger is of course not human being, but he generally we use for human being. So that is why the tiger is considered, or tiger is having the characteristics of human being. That's why it is personification. Next, stalks means walks, follows. In his vivid, vivid means the bright colored. Stripes means you can say the color of his body, which are having stripes. So we can imagine in our mind. That's why the first line is having imagery. The few steps of his cage. Now the poem is beginning about the tiger who is walking under his bright colored skin. Where he is walking few steps. Why few steps? Because he is in the cage. So the cage is very small one. The means you can say the animal which moves around the forest, who is considered a very powerful one, very free one, who is not scared of anyone, moves around the whole forest. But now he is imprisoned. He is in the cage. So that's why he is walking few steps on pads of velvet quiet. Now pads of velvet quiet. So here metaphor is used. How metaphor is used here? His pad means here the sole of his feet. Okay, so we generally call it paws, paws. Paws we use paw of tiger, that is paws of tiger. These are velvet soft, and they are very soft like velvet. That's why pads of velvet. And while walking it is not making a noise, that's why it is considered quiet, silent. So while walking it is not making a sound also, and he is confined in a cage, that's why the steps are also very few. In his quiet rage. Now see, the oxymoron is used here. Quiet rage. Quiet means silent, and rage means extreme anger. So how is it possible the extreme anger becomes very quiet? So that is known as oxymoron. In his quiet rage. So the poet is saying that the tiger is very angry because his life is confined. His life is completely confined in this cage only, but he is quiet because he doesn't have any other option. He cannot do anything. He is helpless. That is why he is quiet. The next stanza also begins with the same personification. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. So we find a difficult word also, lurking. Lurking means to be hidden, as to wait for prey. Prey means to hunt. So he should be. Now poet is just imagining that if he would be free, so what this tiger would be doing. So he says he should be lurking. He means the tiger should be lurking, means hiding himself in shadows. Shadows mean the darkness. Sliding through long grass, and he would be moving hidingly through the long grass. Where? Near the water hole. Near the water hole means the pond, you can say, the near, you can say the any water body where plump deer pass. Where plump means very heavy, very full of meat. Deer means you can say the animal. Pass means passes. So what poet is saying that if he would be free, then he would be hiding himself or walking through the long grass very silently, waiting for his hunting, waiting for his prey. and the prey could be the any animal. He has given the example of deer, who would be just stopping himself nearby the water body for drinking the water, and tiger would be attacking and just killing it. So this would be the life of the tiger if he would not be in this cage. So this is what in this stanza explained. The next stanza says he should be snarling. Again, he is coming. So this is again we see personification. Snarling around the houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. Now exclamation mark is given at the end. So difficult word if we talk about that is snarling. Snarling means warning sounds made by animals. Barring, you can say uncovered, and fangs mean the sharp teeth of animals. So here the poet says that if he would be out, the same you can say stanza, same kind of point of view is continuing in this stanza also. The poet says that he should be snarling around the houses at the jungle's edge. Jungle's edge means at the border of the jungle. So whatever the houses which are available at the border of the jungle, these houses would be full of the sound which would be made by this animal. So he should be snarling. Snarling means a warning sound, a kind of roaring sound, which tiger makes around houses. Which houses at the jungles, which are at the border of the forest. Barring his white fangs. Barring means showing, uncovering his white fangs, white teeth, sharp teeth. His claws. Claws means again the paw. Paw means you can say the sharp feet. Terrorizing, creating the fear among the village means the people who are living in the village at the edges of the jungle. They would be very much frightened, afraid with the sound of the animal, with his white teeth, with his claws. So these things will be creating fear among the people. So that is the exclamatory means it will be very shocking, very terrorizing thing, and people would be very much afraid. So this could only be possible when he would be out of the cage, he would be in the forest. So that is why the poet is imagining that what would have happened if this tiger had been out of the cage. So still he is not, but the poet has imagined in these two stanzas what would be his life. Next sentence says, but he is locked in a concrete cell. His strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. Now here, very first again he is used, so that means you can say it's personification. One more device is used here in the second line, behind bars. So this is BB is repeated with the same sound as I told you, Coca-Cola, Kit Kat. So here this is alliteration which has been used here. The word which is coming, which I find difficult, that is concrete. Stalking we have already studied. So concrete means very strong one. The building made of bricks, cement, sand, iron, all these things we can use for concrete. So, but he is locked. Who is he? That's tiger. Locked in a concrete cell. Concrete means very strong. Cell means the cage. So where he is now, that means he is in the zoo. His strength behind bars, his strength, his power, his complete energy, his terror, his complete, you can say, the roaring sound, that is only behind the bars. Behind the bars and behind the cage, the bars, the iron bars which are kept at the prison. Stalking the length of his cage. Now he is stalking means walking. The length of his cage means as big as the cage, his limit is that only, and he is walking in that length only. Ignoring visitors, he is not paying attention to the visitors because he cannot do anything with them. Even he cannot terrorize them. As earlier he would be terrorizing, as earlier we have studied in the last stanza, he would be terrorizing the people who would be living in the village at the edge of the jungle. So he cannot do anything, that's why he is ignoring them. Now in the next stanza, he hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the billion stars. Same literary device, personification, and rhyme scheme is also same one. So patrolling, what is patrolling? This is a difficult word which is in this stanza. Patrolling means to guard or to be to vigil. Generally what happens in the night, to guard people to guard any kind of stealing or to be very vigilant. Police moves in their cars, so that is a patrolling cars. So late night, what happens? We hear only the voice of these guards. Either the, you can say, the watchmen, they are making the sound, or the vehicle. If we listen, that sound will be, of course, the patrolling cars. So the poet imagines that now in the night, what is his job? What he would hear. Earlier in the standard, we have studied that in the night, what he does, he would be hiding himself in the shadows, passing through the grass, searching for his hunt or prey, and he would be killing the animals. But now, what's his job? So he hears the last voice at night. So in the night, the last voice which he listened, the last sound which he listened, that is a patrolling cars. Patrolling cars mean the patrolling vehicles. You can say the vehicles of guards who would be passing. He would be listening that sound only and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. So what he does, he looks at the brilliant stars. Brilliant stars means shining stars with his shining eyes. Brilliant eyes means shining eyes. So why he is looking at the stars? Because he is maybe praying to God to be freed from this cage, or maybe you can say that he is just looking those confined brilliant stars which he was able to see through his cage, and missing his life in the forest. If he would be free, and he could see the whole sky, or maybe he is diverting his mind from this agony, from the pain which he is feeling now. Let's come to the next. There is a summary of the poem which I have just given you. You will be able to understand the complete essence of the poem through this summary. Read it. If there is a doubt, then you may ask me. This is important extract. Why it is important? Because in CBSE 2015 it was asked. These are the questions. I expect the answers from you in the comment box. The strategy I have already clarified. These are the important questions. In last 5 years, any question has not been asked in CBSE. Only the extract was asked. So these questions I believe are important, and I hope you can easily answer them.